Okay, we can fit in a little story here, I think, and give us a little bit of time that the girls need for another costume change. Seems there was these two strangers in a cocktail lounge, high in a skyscraper in New York. I mean, you know, one of these places like 70 stories up. They sat there and they drank for about 45 minutes, not saying anything to each other. Finally, first fellow turns around. He says to the second, he says, you know, he says, it's a funny thing about New York. He says, with all these skyscrapers. He says, all you need is a little breeze coming in off the bay. And it gets down on the streets and gets swirling around with all these tall buildings around here, he says, and it just shoots an updraft right up in between them all. He says, you know, he says, you could go over there and jump out that window way up here on the 70th floor. He says, and I bet you, he says, you would never hit bottom. First guy says, oh, come on and get out of here. He says, there ain't no way you could jump out that 70th floor window and not hit the ground. The guy says, how much you want to bet? I'll prove it to you. So they make a small wager. Fella goes over, opens the window, whew, gets down about 10 stories, and back up he comes, lands on the window ledge. He says, see, I told you. There's absolutely nothing to it. He says, the wind, he says, the updraft is just so strong, he says, you can't hit the sidewalk. Guy says, I don't believe this. He says, I've really got to take and try this. Goes over to the window, jumps out, splot. He didn't come back up. Fella goes back over to the bar, sits down, resumes drinking. The bartender walks over to him. He says, you know, Superman, he says, you're awful mean when you're drunk.